Here. Vice Chair Mortensen.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, I'm here.
And Commissioner Munoz is asked.
Okay, so as proper posting of the agenda been established?
Yes.
Next item is approval of minutes of the January 18th, 2023 commission meeting. Is there any discussion on those? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second? I'll second. I can second, can I? Can
Yeah, no, not yes. Well,
We've never had this situation.
Second.
Okay. Chair Vivian.
Yes?
Vice Chair Mortensen.
Yes.
Commissioner Kowalski.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous.
Right. Next item is public expression. I don't see any members of the public here. Can you consider them public here?
She's a woman.
I'm here as a member of the public.
Okay. And there are no members of employee organizations. So let's move on to item 5, closed session. disciplinary appeal hearing decision and findings that, we moved to make, revisions to the findings and, to present that revision at our March Civil Service Commission meeting for approval. Okay, moving on. Item 6, classification, Sheriff's Office reclassification, Staff Assistant 2 and 3 to Legal Secretary 1.
Brandy.
Morning, Brandy,
Hearing.
Human Resources Analyst. As introduced, HR has conducted a classification study on staff assistant series over in the SO, the Sheriff's Office. This study was asked of us to do on behalf of all the legal assistants, in that they are doing responsibilities and duties above and beyond the scope of their current classification. In doing so, we sent to the incumbent, 2 of the 4 incumbents, a position description questionnaire, which is a form that they complete on their own, talking and discussing what they're responsible for in their current role and how much time is spent on their duties. After receiving the completed PDQs, HR staff conducted a study, including a desk audit of the other 2 incumbents, of which have been employed by the county for less than 1 year. As a side note, the reason why we didn't give them a PDQ is because they haven't been in their role long enough to do that, of which why we completed a desk audit, asking them more questions that they would be able to answer. Following the desk audits and review of the PDQs, HR has determined each incumbent is responsible for duties and functions beyond their current classification. These positions are involved in all aspects of the department's function: service to the community, such as proof of services to the courts, restraining orders, organization, holding confidential information in files, fingerprinting, utilizing the Department of Justice electronic system, and other law enforcement computer programs. Additionally, they prepare and process various complex legal documentation, composing letters, memos, various departmental duties, and reporting many other legal services the Sheriff's Office is mandated to do. Though this is a unique reclassification, it is warranted. It has been determined that all staff assistants in the Sheriff's Office are performing higher and more complex duties and are responsible for 1 or more specialized functions within their respective units. The HR department concludes that the most appropriate classification for the position would meet the requirements of a Legal Secretary 1. All incumbents meet the minimum requirements for Legal Secretary 1, and attached to the agenda and the memo is the current classification specification for staff assistants 2, 3, and a Legal Secretary 1. And then we also included an attachment of the summary of findings. So our recommendation is to reclassify the current staff assistants, Janelle Bear, Janice Viola, Hannah Fox, and Megan Larkin, as a Legal Secretary 1. And if the commissioners have any questions, we do have Rose Britton from the Sheriff's Office able to answer any questions as the subject matter expert.
I just have one question. You mentioned that 2 of the 4 people in these positions have been in the position less than a year. Does that matter in terms of them moving into the legal? Are they able to stay in? The old positions don't go away, is that correct? The staff assistant 2 and 3.
As we reclassified them for the Sheriff's Office, yes, they will.
They do go away? Okay, that takes care of the rest. Thank you.
I have a question, and this isn't an area I really think it's our purview, and I don't go there, but looking at these class specs, it's like I expected the legal secretary one to be in a much higher financial bracket than the other one. So it seems at least the two people that have been there a while should maybe be legal secretaries too. I don't know, but it just kind of struck me as strange that they didn't represent for all of the talking about how they're above and beyond their duties in their positions at present, that making them a legal secretary one would be more financially rewarding.
So thank you for that acknowledgement. However, they have to be reclassified as a one because they do not meet the requirements of a two, the minimum requirements.
Oh, yeah.
And keep in mind also a legal secretary one is an entry level position. And so after they're in it a year and they have been able to show and demonstrate that they are familiar enough with the position and can perform to that standard, there is a likelihood of within a year to be promoted to a two level.
Right. Yeah, there's the time you have to commit to one first.
But following up Terry's question, the high end of the salary range for a staff assistant 3 is more than the high end salary range for a legal secretary 1. And so my concern is that someone wouldn't have a reduction in pay.
There would not be a reduction in pay with a reclassification.
But if someone was at the high end of the staff assistant 3, high end of legal secretary is less than that.
Right, so they would, what's considered a Y rate, they would not be losing any money at that if they're reclassified.
Right.
And as Brandy was saying, as they meet the minimum qualifications for the 2, then they would be promoted to 2,
So,
which is a high.
so how do you get around that though? Like if, and again, I don't know what they're being paid, but if someone as a staff assistant 3 was making the highest amount, would you just carry that amount over even though it wasn't in that range?
That's correct.
That's what you're saying?
Yes.
That's what Y rating is.
That's what, what?
Y rate.
Oh, what's the Y for?
You don't get cut.
Basically freeze their salary until that classification catches up, and then they start growing their salary.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Does seem kind of weird though, that it wouldn't have a higher
Yeah.
higher end on that, but sometimes that happens.
Are there any
But
other?
they wouldn't be in that legal secretary one for very long anyway, probably. I mean, if they're at the high end, the most typical scenario is that they would only stay that in for a year, and then they would go into the 2 and they would continue growing their salary.
In staff assistant 3 was that the highest you could go? Was it a 4?
And no, it's a 3.
Okay, are there any other comments, questions? No? Would someone like
I'll
to?
make a motion. Yeah, I'll make a motion that we do the reclass as specified.
Is there a second?
I second.
Right. We have,
Commissioner Poplawski,
Aye.
Chair Evian,
yes,
Vice Chair Mortensen,
Yes.
motion carries unanimous.
so there's no other business. So let's go to item 8, Human Resource Director report.
Yes, good morning, William Schurtz, Secretary to the Commission. I do have one item that I wanted to bring up as a report. As you may know, that the state of California is the COVID emergency is ending for the state at the end of this month, and that does have an impact on how public meetings are run, and they did pass actually a couple of bills in the last couple of years regarding how local governments can operate in public meetings, and since the emergency is ending, that impacts how we run our meetings. I just did want to just provide just a little information about what that means for the commission. All kinds of information. So the Brown Act requirements there are some requirements that were waived because of the previous bills and that were put in place. But also it does allow the new bills. One does allow members of the board of the commission to participate remotely, but it's only in certain circumstances, and it's only well, I'll just get into it here real quick. AB 2449 allows local governments to hold public meetings remotely if at least a quorum of the members of the governing body participates in person at a single location.
Wow,
Okay.
okay.
Members participating remotely must give notice and just cause at the earliest opportunity, or else must request and receive permission to participate remotely. And even then, the bill limits the number of times a member may participate remotely. It's twice a year. So, so going forward, what we are doing, I've had a conversation with the CEO's office regarding going back to the chambers as it was prior to the pandemic. And we're open meetings there, and then we would, as what we had done before, we would move from chambers to conference room B for closed session and go back to the chambers for so we're in the process of trying to get that coordinated. And so what we anticipate is that we may be in the chambers for the March session, certainly for the April, I believe, depending on what we need to do to make sure that everything's coordinated. And but I think next meeting in March, we have to adhere to the bills that are the law that California has now regarding the Brown Act. So more information to come. We certainly will provide, send some emails to the commission, letting you know what the plans are. So you'll see that. But that's what we're looking to do.
So we'll see you in person, Terry and Julie.
Yeah, well, that's easier for me.
Yes.
I just didn't want to venture out into the frost this morning.
Is there any update on filling the vacant position?
There's not an update. I have brought that to the executive office. I do that on a regular basis. I'm hoping that something comes of that soon. Because I think there should be a
Yeah, I have made a number of efforts to come up with some people, including bringing the vacancy up at the North Bay Central Labor Council. but nobody was jumping at it.
Are you the person to contact if there's someone that we might recommend? Are you
Yeah.
the one?
Absolutely, yeah, you can contact the secretaries to the commission. I'll be happy to move that forward or touch base with that individual and see what we can do. We would actually have to, if there's somebody that is interested in that, then we would have to go talk with Ted Williams, since he's a supervisor of the district, and have to coordinate with him to see if that's something he would like to do.
Great, thank you.
The person can be in any district, it just kind of needs to be run by Supervisor Williams.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
The person can be in any district, but it has to be run by Supervisor Williams. I know that's kind of true. Don't they want somebody from the 5th district, but if somebody from the 2nd district was interested and it got brought to Supervisor Williams and he was okay with it, they would allow somebody from a different district to sit in that seat, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, our previous representative lived in the 3rd district.
So I knew it was possible, I just wasn't sure.
Where is what is considered the 5th district, so I can just be.
I believe.
Yeah.
So it's
Southern Coast.
Yeah.
Southern Coast. I think it's
Alexander
Yes.
Estates.
Sorry.
Alexander Estates and Ukiah, that's part of the 5th.
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, they changed the lines this past year or so, right? And it's like I think it's the town of Mendocino and south along the coast, and it's
Yorkville.
Yeah, this map shows, and it's older, obviously, but it shows from Mendocino to Gualala, and it can, Hopland, Boonville, parts of the southern parts of Ukiah.
Mendocino South, basically. Okay.
yes.
Well, thank you.
Well,
With no other items on the agenda, we can adjourn at 9:35. Thank you, everyone.
thank you.
Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
Good day.
All right.
Bye.
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 Thanks, Julie.